That's brilliant.
So we're getting near John Clancy.
We're getting near John Clancy.
Open your bag.
We are. John Clancy is known to everybody in Belfast as called the Book.
Right.
So he is, and because he has this unique bookstore where you can go in and you can sit there all day if you want.
Ah.
And you're not told to buy anything.
Good.
That's very good. Here we are. We're about to go into John Clancy's. He used to belong to the old Smithfield. It's one of the old residences of the old Smithfield market. And we're going to go inside, maybe get an interview with him, and he can tell us all about what it was like in the old Smithfield, which used to stand across the road there. So we'll go into John's here. He used to be part of the old Smithfield, and he'll be able to tell us what it was like to be in the old Smithfield. He's here since it was burned down, like, you know, and we never got back to that Smithfield because Castle Court now stands on the side. But anyway, come on in. Hello, hello. So here's
John, I got
here
to get on.
is Sam here for
Hello, Sam.
we're taking on
Are we done there?
television.
Is that right? Go on over, Jane. He's taking me thing. Go on, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Hello.
This is my eldest daughter here.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
So we're starting off community television. So we are, and
I get a lot of interviews down here, Sam. How are you doing?
we're,
I haven't seen you up now.
Yeah, I'll be around.
That's good.
he's
Because I've done a few what you call discreet inquiries over that. You know what I mean? That there. Now I can say what you maybe was in your mind.
There's a lot of paper around here.
I
don't want to set something all right.
know Sam's a good lad. He really is a good lad. I have a brother home at the minute, Sam, from Hawaii, our pet. Has been home in 38 years. Yeah.
Oh, 49.
There you are now.
Oh.
A wee birthday. That's the girls out of the hairdressers.
Oh.
But I'm saying that now, sure, and my 19th birthday is a say in Dodges, is a big deal, so you know. That's good,
The ones with
yeah. That's a different ball go out. That's a different ball game
It
altogether.
is, because I know friends of mine in there, and right. Well, here we have John Clancy here. There's this unique bookshop. You used to be in the old Smithfield market whenever it was.
Yeah. You know yourself, Stephen. I started in the book game about 1960 as a boy, and then I worked for Harry Hall, who was a very, very known Belfast bookseller, you know, and the old Smithfield. And I've been in the game now, coming in my 43rd year. I got into the book game by mistake, and I'm still here, you know. But it's interesting the people you've met, as you know yourself, Stephen, have known you maybe 25, 30 years now, not only as a customer, but you see what I believe about shops of this nature that I have, there's a soul in them.
Yeah,
Soul.
it's not like Dillon's around the corner and like, you know,
Like fish and chip shops, you wouldn't get it and walk out. Now, there's a bit of soul, you would come in and say hello, and this. See, my
there's a
main
personal
aim,
touch.
well, but my main aim is very simple. If I can get you a book, I do my best to get you. If I haven't got a book, I'll point you in the right direction. And that's always been my motive. From I was a boy, I was always interested in books. Even as a boy, I remember my father was a seaman, and as you realise at that particular time, even back to the 50s here, that there was very little books written on the history of Ireland, local histories. My main aim here is to promote local history. Whether you come from the Shankill Road, East Belfast, West Belfast, or with me, is to promote and to encourage local history. Because the history that we possess at times is that of very wealthy families and nothing more. So it's nice to see little, like that's my main aim. And as well as I'm a general bookseller.
I see a lot of books and magazines there from the Ashton.
The Glen Ravel. Well, now Joe Baker, I encouraged Joe to actually publish you know, you get the little things like Rushlight, and I think Joe's first big publication is a wee book called The Lamplight on local history. And from that he developed into historical Belfast, and now very successful with Belfast, what comes out every month, and they're selling maybe 20,000 copies a month.
As much as that now?
Oh, it's so easy, right? It's a very popular magazine. Well, you see, most of my trade, people coming in here would buy stuff for people in Canada, Australia, worldwide, and they post them off to them, things of that nature, you know. But in general books, as you know yourself, Steve, and Like you'd buy a lot of local stuff. You'd have
I
always
would
come
prefer
over.
local stuff to, like, you know, some of these novels, like, you know.
Well, fiction, you know, it's like everything else, you know, like as I say, there's real men come into me to change the detectives. In fact, there's a friend of mine always says they have to vet them because they have to have a food taster in, you know, for their husband, just in case, you know, they're trying to bump them off and things like that. Then you get them changing their romances, their westerns, you know, and different things of that nature. So there, you know. But as I say, I started off at the age of 16 and then I went on the road for a publishing firm for a while. But what I found in a sense, you see, some people say the booksellers are eccentric. My attitude towards that's very simple. If you've a few bob, you're eccentric. But if you're poor like me, you're nuts. And that is an old Belfast expression. Yeah, and you think I know where I'm coming from. It's like I remember a chap you bought, was it Rainbow George?
Rainbow George.
Wonderful character, wonderful character. He stood at the elections, you know, but that would be my attitude.
He was over there a while ago.
He was a very interesting character. I think him and there was Peter Cook.
Peter Cook.
He was
lives next door to you.
That's right. He did live next door. But was he was a minister of this
Minister of Chaos or something?
Minister of Chaos, or well, yeah. Well, with regards to politics, misinformation, you know. Because I remember I put my name down because he needed different people. Well, people like these are the type of people I love to meet, you know. Then you get your
He's
authors.
coming over again.
Is he coming over?
September.
It'd be lovely to meet him again, you know. Because he started talking to me and he sounded political. And I said to him, "Excuse me, George, that sounds very political." And he says, "I'm sorry," you know. Not right, but he sounded very political. You know, as if he was trained in one of those schools, you know, of don't answer a direct question, go around it 30 times, talk about something else, and I'll tell you. I'll answer that in a minute, but what I want to say now, to see a particular educational field we should be touching on, you know, this type of thing, you know. But politicians, there's a few politicians come in here, very nice people.
Oh, he's launched the, he had the Ben Rail band up at the Limelight, and they're from South Armagh.
That's right, yes, well I know of them, I've heard them through dispatches,
and they had them
know.
singing the Notice of Redundancy.
Is that right?
They're all the politicians.
Oh, well, lovely.
We don't want you, we don't trust you.
Just like an old Smithfield is some of the characters to me. I remember William Connor, a very famous Irish painter, and William Connor used to come into us every Friday, that would have been in the early 60s. And what I later learned, he used to meet up with Joe Tumulty and maybe Patrick McElhaney and you know, different old actors at that time.
His daughter Roma's still about, isn't she?
Roma, yes, Joe.
Joe Tumulty.
I remember getting him a copy, it was at the Old Souls Night. I remember it was about the old 5 shillings and he said, "There's a half crown, you're well paid." He never had his own stuff, Joe. And he was a very talented man.
I was.
I don't know how you can put this in
camera. He lived up in Stockman.
This trade is so interesting because people come from all walks of life and people. See, that you know one thing, I get the name of John the book by different. It's a name of a faction that people they seem to adopt. It's like what do you call him? He's a little cartoonist. He does all the wee local things. He goes on the name I think of Pierre, Bill Pierce. Now I give a copy out to one of my customers, and she says she hasn't had a mouse in the house when she put it up. Because my customers will let you away with nothing. If you think their ego's going up, or if you think you're important, or even like me, I've been in the game 40 years, but I'm still learning about the book trade. It's not every book that I would know about. I'm not intellectual, far from it, you know.
But what's the oldest book you might have had?
Oh God, I think it was one of the oldest books I think I had there recently. We dated back to, I think, late 1600. It was of religious nature, you know. But what I try to cater for the general public, I'm very aware, especially of the Irish market, and that's a big market now, you know. And I think from a historical point of view, and you have your specialist dealers, you know, there are book fairs, and there's quite a few of them. And then I would have the collectors come in here. See, most of my trade has been built up. To give you an example, I had a chap in this morning along with his wife, and they brought their son, Lawrence Stanley, you call him, and they're going to bring me a photograph. He just got his degree at Queen's University. And yet he was coming to me when he was a boy for his wee comics, and now he comes in for different other books that have to do with his course. I'm not sure whether it was philosophy he was doing or not, it matters anyway. And that's nice. And this is one of the things that I discovered, people who come in as children bring their grandchildren in now, so that's getting away my age. My birthday's tomorrow, which, you know what I mean, it's getting my age away. I'll be 60 tomorrow, so will Stephen, you know. So I've been in the game from, actually near 44 years now. It's a long time, at the book trade. Although I'll never become a millionaire.
Oh, well, you've had the experience, like, you know, good experience of it.
Yeah.
But what happened, like, whenever the the place, the old Smithfield was burned
Oh, that
down.
was
Like,
sad.
you know,
That was the 20th of May,
I'm sure that knocked you
1974.
back a bit.
Oh, that near killed me. Because what it was, see,
There's a
Smithfield
whole lot
was
of
the
people never
soul.
got back there.
No, no, no.
Wee Huey, remember him that done the old radios?
Oh, Hugh
and all?
McCollum. He sold
Uh-huh.
second-hand false teeth.
Really?
He did indeed. For £half grand. He used to get them off the corpses. That's true, but no, second-hand false teeth.
Yeah.
And we Hugh was about this size, but he used to stand on the thing behind the counter. And the strange thing, he had his foot in the wee thing, and if you went in for a valve, he put it on it and pressed the button and a little bulb lit. That's all right. And that may have worked, or it may not have worked. But if you brought it back, he would exchange it. And then there was Ernie Mahoney. He was a nice man. He just passed away there recently. Like a lot of the old Smithfield boys are gone. The shop I worked for,
gone now too?
he's gone, yeah, he's gone.
That near killed him
Aye,
because
he's in Graham.
I seen him sort of whenever the new Smithfield was built, like, you know, the wooden hut ones. Like, you know, when the old whenever the market was, they tried to resurrect it, but I seen him, like, you know, when he just would have come down there, he was just staring at the place blank.
It seems like yesterday, because I remember coming down the next morning and to see a lot of the traders just standing there and the tears dripping them. And all the building all down, you know, and it was so sad.
It was their lives.
Well, you see, what you have to remember about Smithfield, it was the soul of Belfast. And then of the trouble, Stevens, you know yourself, people maybe who lived up the falls, who worked together. It was just uncomfortable for them to say to drink and to shank along the falls. So they always met in the Smithfield area. It was always cosmopolitan, as it is to today, where people who could have a drink and, you know, have a bit of crack in the bars in town, which were many at that time. There was Peter's Bar, there was Jimmy Coyle's, there was Sean McLaughlin, the Bus Bar, there was Madden's Bar. You know, it was surrounded by bars. It's like Smithfield, believe that in history. The earliest thing at home, because I'm working on a wee book in Smithfield and have been for so many years, the earliest record that I can find talking about Smithfield, it's previous to the 1798 rebellion. It's about 1778, 79. And it talked about Smithfield, and facing it was a bar called Little John's, as from the Robin Hood, you know. And this era was renowned. You see, Townsend Street was the end of Belfast at that particular time. Gresham Street, as we know it now, would have been called Hudson's Entry.
That was supposed to be very notorious.
Very notorious. I tell you, I wouldn't fancy drinking Little John's, because you mightn't have made it as far as Hercules Street at that time. You'd have been robbed, because that's in them little houses you might have got 20, 30 people sleeping, you know, and maybe 3 or 4 families. You know, and in Hudson's Entry, it was led to Hercules Street, which, as you know yourself, at one time was all butcher shops. All butcher shops later became Royal Avenue, you know. So it's interesting when you look at it.
Scary too, the Hercules Street.
Well, I think at that particular time, the smell of them killing the meat and things like that there, you know. And then Smithfield, as I say, there was cows grazing at that time. And then I think I have a record of the start erecting. That was just after the 98 rebellion, they stopped erecting stalls within the complex for the shop traders. And the strange thing about it, when the Smithfield went up, it hadn't changed really from them days. Maybe different little shop fronts on. Like when you think of Joe Kavanagh, and you think of Marcus Musical Instruments, and you think of John Shearer, and you think of the Shearer's Hardware and the McCrory's Hardware, and Jim Contley. McCusker was a great man for antiques. Joe McCusker, yeah. Harry Hall, the shop I worked for.
They could have rummaged underneath and all the rest of it, and you would have found things like, you know, that he didn't even know he had.
Oh, for course, that's fact. Joe was very, Joe had a good eye for ruby glass was his field. Ruby glass, which is fiction. You know, well, I don't know, like, I'm not really into that particular thing. Up there, Sam, is a photograph of Rindy Monaghan, who was world champion in 1947. And the one more thing, Rindy lived in Little Corporation Street. I was born in Corporation Street. His wife was down to see me about a fortnight ago, along with the daughter. Now, when you think, and this is Jackie Briers and Paddy Graham, Belfast was always renowned for champion boxers. And when you think per head, per capita, per population, with a great boxing fraternity, which we still live up to that today, when you think of a young lad like Damien Kelly, young Wayne McCulloch, who became world champion. I mean, you think of the population, but always, you know, we always had great, I mean, you think when we went to the Commonwealth Games and the Olympic Games, we always came away with a medal. What comes into my mind is
Malik
Camel.
Higgins and all. And
Oh, well, that's snooker, yeah.
that's
Funny, I
Snooker,
remember.
and Ronnie Carroll, the singer.
That's right, Ronnie Carroll, yeah.
Like, you know,
He made a
whole lot of
fortune.
talents come out of Belfast.
Oh God, Ruby Murray, when you think of no different people. But see, a lot of these people, that's one other thing, we'll go back to Smith. You always seen these people, even the people that worked in Smithfield played in the show bands, because they filled in during the course of the day. They worked for like say, Jim Conlon, the show band people. Remember Chappie played for the Witnesses, showed me a photograph of him and Elvis Presley taken in Las Vegas. Because Elvis, when he was there, always went down to listen to, like, say, the Royal Show Band, the Witnesses, and any show band that went to, because they were so good. You know, the golden era, as I say, the 60s. You know, it was always a great era. But Smithfield always, see, it was a soul in it. And getting back, we were talking
Everybody
about it
seemed to have time for you. All the traders seem to have
any
time
of my
for you,
customers
like.
coming in here, they simply say one thing. This reminds them of Smithfield Market. And they'll never get Smithfield out of my blood. And that's why I've never moved. You know yourself, Sam, when I went in, opened up, or Stephen, I opened up in Wayne Tavern Street. I was there for about 20 odd years. And I did not want to leave the Smithfield area. So the nearest shop I could get here, because away from Smithfield at that time, I wanted to move into the Smithfield Market itself. But they have what you call a carte blanche, that they wait and advertise the whole units. I carried it in through the solicitor, or no, the crown solicitor. But I might have been charged, say if I went in for X number of £100 a week, whatever we were charging. But somebody else made a bid more and I would have had to move out, so that's why I moved around here. You know, so this is the only thing, you know, as an old American one time when I was a boy, he asked me had you any Conan Doyle books. I climbed up a ladder and as I'm coming down, I'm blowing the dust off them. And he turned around and said to me, God, they're very dusty. And I replied, no extra charge for dust. And he gave me 10 bob for myself. It wasn't meant in a derogatory way. So things in here might be a bit dusty, but no extra charge. Or they could be maybe, you know what I mean? If there's 2 inches of dust, well, it means it's been sitting on the shelves a while. And what you could
But
have
there's
bought.
some stuff, like, you know, could be pretty rare that you have here.
Well, I would be aware of it, you know. What I try to cater for is what I can't dictate or be, how would you say, be what people read. But what I try to do, try to have a cross section of stuff to suit the people of Belfast. Because in Belfast, born and reared. And if you have time, I'd like to read you a little poem by Albert Hazlitt, a very dear friend of my own. And this is a lost art we have because of, how would one say, because of the way the education, it's called The Good Old Days. A sofa in the corner, oilcloth on the floor, a mangle standing in the yard, a broken toilet door, paper cut in little squares hanging on a string, someone sitting on the throne thinking they can sing. A well-scrubbed table in the house always standing there, mother with her apron on, hairpins in her hair. A wee half curtain across the window, so neighbours couldn't see if we were having cabbage and knobs or else a well-done knee. A gas mantle, the only light for mother to see the thread, when sewing patches and trousers when we all went to bed. I remember my young brother, always a bit of a wet scene, don't we burn the tablecloth, my dad hasn't read it yet, telegraph. A job box in the scullery, bathing in the big tin tub, saving up for Christmas in a weekly Christmas club. Overcoats for blankets, a pole below the bed, a woman crumbing round in the school looking through her head, the knit woman, scrubbing on a washboard using Lifebuoy soap, playing around a lamppost swinging on a rope. We hadn't many luxuries, everything was plain, although we hurt for the good old days, they won't come back again. It's like Smithfield, Stephen. Won't be back, but it's nice to have a bit of a soul as I am here, as it was in the old Smithfield.
Well, the essence could remain, like, you know, within, like, you know, every individual, like, you know.
It is.
So it is.
But you see, the thing is, there's a lot of people who wouldn't know about Smithfield Market. And
A lot of
say-
youngsters now, like, you know, that's going off their West life and running
But
their...
it's nice too. The internet, people will say to me, do you think with the internet have many bookmen or bookmen? If you be like me, you like a book in your hand. You know, it's nice to get printed matter from the internet, it may be, but there's no there is no, you know, there is no substitution for a book in your hand. A book you can set down, a book you can pick up at any time. No substitution. Printed matter.
And computers can be a right headache if they crash.
Well, I couldn't work a video, so I'm afraid not, you know, and unfortunately myself, I'm of the old stock. If I want the video program, get one of the kids in program, usually about 7-year-old, they know more about that, which is good too, I suppose, you know.
They would know more about
But I hope in a sense the old Smithfield spirit still lives on here, if nowhere else, Steve. Still lives here. And that would be my aim, you know. Or maybe I'm just like the books themselves, getting a bit antique.
the new Smithfield that developed, like, you know. It's,
Well, I could see their point. It was, I'm not going to say soulless. There's still a few, like Mary Flood's still around there. There's a couple of the Burns still around there. Eric Laura was there, but he moved out to Royal Avenue. But it's not the same, sure. It's not to me
same.
anyway.
It's a bit like sort of a smaller version of Castle Court now.
Well, I think that was the whole idea the corporation wanted, you see. I think in reality...
I think the rents is a bit too high too down there.
Well,
like,
I think when I worked in Smithfield, I remember when Eddie Havlin took on the shop round in, is it in Chapel Lane, or just round, no, Barry Street. And I remember that time, it was £8 a week. Remember we said, God, imagine paying £8 a week for rent. Now God knows, in fact him and Tommy Land, God rest him, Eddie's still, like the Havlins are still, they're the best ski people that I know of. Or Jack Satterdale, who's round tools and that, where Jack Satterdale's the best key man in town. You know,
he had a wee slogan there,
like Harry Hall?
no, the Havlins there, the lock and the safe people.
Yes, yeah. Just like Harry Hall, we used to put a wee ad in the paper when I worked for Big Eric. Harry Hall buys them all, books big and small. Ring 31923, God. And that's when numbers were 5 digits, 31923. Here's what sticks in your mind, isn't it? But Steve, the only thing I can say, Smithfield is not gone if I be still here, if you know what I mean. That spirit of Smithfield, well, there's a soul. And I think the so-called modernisation, now I'm not saying Castle Court's soulless, but it suits a lot of people to have all this sort of a...
I think it's more or less
antiseptic things and everything.
It's artificial, so there's in the fact that they go into anything like Debenhams and stuff like that.
Which is nice. But don't get me wrong, it's like
soulless, like, you know, there's nobody, like, you know, it's more or less get in, get what you want and get out again.
That's fine.
Like, you know, it's there's no stalling like this here, like, you know. And,
there's another gentleman right there, friend of mine from many years. We're just talking about Smithfield, sir. You know, the soul of old Smithfield Market. And there's a wee bit of it still retained here, you know what I mean? Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit, you know.
You're near enough, John, to the side of it.
What's that?
You're near enough to the side of it.
Well, that's what we're just saying there, sir, you know, we're near enough to the thing, you know. But, you know, as I was saying to Stephen here, the people of Belfast had a good affection towards the old Smithfield. My generation, you know, that should be there type of thing, you know. What's her name? Emma. President Toronto was a people. Of course, we got Irish.
Oh yeah, very multicultural.
Baez was very familiar with his, Joan Baez was very familiar with his poetry, you see. And she introduced him as a up-and-coming folk star, you know. I think he just went on and like he hasn't got the most trained voice in the world, but he put one of his songs over, you know.
I quite like Leonard Cohen's work, and he's still at it. He's still like producing music.
Still at it, yeah. I have Irina done a lovely documentary on him about maybe within this last 10 years, and it was in Greece, where he had a big concert in Greece. Brilliant. He's had some beautiful girl backing singers too, you know, real nice, you know. A class song, class. Right. I've been 1860, Billy on.